Good evening, everyone. Welcome to The Blackout with Monica Love. So it's been a while since we've had time to talk. So today we're going to be talking about Pluto. Yes, Pluto. And Pluto, before I get into it, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's being safe. I'm wishing you all well, okay? So Pluto, let's get into this because I've wanted to do a discussion on this for quite some time. There's a lot of tension going on in the sky right now. Lots of tension, okay? It actually has been amplified a lot more than, before, especially with Saturn retrograde and then Mars retrograde. Saturn is now direct, Pluto is now direct. So there's a lot of tension. And I think, the importance of this discussion is going to have a lot to do with your experience as an individual and as well as the collective. Okay. Now, if you're new to the channel, okay, this is an astrology channel. I do talk about other esoteric hidden knowledge that is very important to human development and evolution, especially moving into the new world, into 2021 and beyond, 2020 and beyond. So you're going to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. Now, I just want to let you all know it's very important that you catch the live, okay? Because if you catch the live, then you don't have to wait a day or two until the video uploads because YouTube doesn't upload my videos for about a day or two. Why? I don't know. I really could not tell you. But yeah, so you're going to want to make sure you catch the lives so that you don't have to wait a day or two for the knowledge, the information. The other thing I want to mention as well is that at the end of the discussion, I always take questions, okay? The questions must be pertaining to the topic. Try not to go off topic. If you do have a question that's off topic, you can ask me in the comment section below. And if I have time, I'll get to it and respond to you, okay? If I don't respond to you, don't be offended. It's just I have a lot going on and I don't always have time to get to all the comments. So I do apologize in advance if I don't get to your comment. You can always comment on the next video or watch the next live and hopefully I can answer it then if it is pertaining to the topic. Try to keep it on topic because if other people are watching this after the live, I don't want them to get confused. Okay, I want to keep everything organized. There's a lot of information. I can't put out all the information in one video or in one day. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, let's get started and let's get into this discussion. What I'm going to be covering today in this discussion, it's going to be very paramount for you to have your notebook. If you have a notebook, okay, sit down with your headphones, relax in your bed, just relax and take it easy. This is a time where we just relax and we have our little discussion about self-development. Okay, so there is the physical self-development, which is the level up. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. And there's the mental level up and the evolution level up. Well, this channel is not only the mental level up, it is the evolutionary level up. It's one step deeper. Okay, so you want to be prepared. You want to have a notebook. You want to take notes so that later on down the road you can reference and you can apply this information. Okay, application is very important. It's one thing to have knowledge, but if you don't have the application, well, then why are you learning? Okay, all right. So some of the things that I'm going to be covering in this discussion is obviously Pluto direct. What does it mean for it to go direct? I'm going to be covering the Pluto-Mars square. I believe there's going to be a square. I have to look. I haven't checked it out, but I'm assuming there will be one. I will also be talking about some of my knowledge that has come up to me intuitively that I picked up today when I was on my nature walk by the river. I like to do that from time to time. Yeah, and there was some information that came to mind about catalysts and anchors. What is a catalyst and what is an anchor? Okay. Catalyst and anchor are going to be very important, especially if you are going through a healing process, if you are going through a cathartic experience, especially coming out of past traumas. Pluto deals with traumas in our life. Okay. A lot of us don't talk about it. A lot of us assume that Mars deals with trauma. No, it's not Mars. Mars is a form of eruption. It's a very malefic planet, but Pluto is one of the biggest transformers, in the planetary system. So wherever Pluto is in your chart, and I'll talk about this natally and we'll move forward because this is going to be a heavy video. If you're not interested in heavy videos that get really deep into the psyche and really touch on things that you need to change in your life, then this is probably not the video for you. Okay, I'm warning you all now. Okay, I don't do this channel, to be nice. This is to get really deep into the things that you need to transform. And that's what Pluto is all about. So not everybody's going to like this video. Not everybody's going to be able to handle it. Not everyone's going to be able to swallow it. So I suggest if you're triggered or you're someone who gets triggered, come back. Watch it when it's not live. Okay. Up until this point, we haven't had any issues with the lives, which is great. I like that. I like that you are all presenting yourself and you're ready to learn, which is good. Because a student who's ready to learn becomes a teacher. And that's what I want many of you to become, teachers. Okay. Especially if you want to be a part of the consulting, model that I'm going to be introducing, which is going to be huge. you're going to want to be knowing this information. And right now it's free, so which is great. All right. So let's talk about Pluto and what it means to deal with Pluto. Pluto is a generational planet, which means it takes a long time for it to transit the sun. Any planet that takes a long time to transit the sun is a planet that has a huge impact. It doesn't necessarily have an impact on us personally. It does, depending on where it is in your chart, of course, but it has an impact that is associated with the generational. Okay, the generational. What does that mean? Well, we have generations. We have generation millennial, we have generation baby boomer, we have generation X, we have generation Y. All of these generations have some sort of important characteristics. Okay, they have important functionalities. Now, if you look into the research, and I'm not going to get too deep into the research because you can do that on your own, but I'll briefly touch on it. If you look at the studies, you will see that, for example, the generation baby boomer shops very much differently than a millennial, okay, or a generation X person or a generation Y person. Each and every generation has some sort of important components, and you will see those important components based on where Pluto has been. So for example, millennials, okay, I'm a millennial. I believe I'm a millennial because I was born in the 90s. I'm not that young, okay, I was born in the early 90s, okay, not late 90s. Millennials are the generation where Pluto was in Scorpio. And if you study what happened when Pluto was in Scorpio, there was a lot of changes that happened. Okay. That's when, I'm not going to get into politics, but you can do your research. In the 90s and in the 80s, there was a lot of changes. Technology started to be introduced. Same-sex marriages, well, not same-sex marriages, but same-sex attitudes and gay rights and all of that started to come out. And that has a lot to do with Scorpio because Scorpio deals with the sexual components, right? The sexual characteristics. So anytime Pluto is in a sign, it's going to manifest in that way of transformation. So, for example, let's talk about Pluto in Capricorn, which is where it's at right now. Capricorn has been there for, I don't know, maybe somebody help me out here, maybe 10 years. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's been there for a while. And this generation that was born with Pluto in Capricorn is actually very smart because Capricorn is not only a hardworking sign, but it tends to be very smart. It tends to be very analytical at times, especially because Saturn is its ruler. Okay, so this is how you're going to really connect with the planet Pluto. And when you see it in someone's chart, you're going to know what generation they belong to and what are the main components of that generation. Because that planet Pluto is going to set the tone for every single person that was born in that specific time frame, which is usually a 10-year period, sometimes a 30-year period. Okay, sometimes Pluto takes 30 years in one sign, maybe 10 years. So what you'll learn here is that anytime Pluto is in a certain spot in your chart, it's going to transform everything in that house. Everything. Okay, so if it's in your money house, if it's in your first house, your house of self, if it's in your house, the seventh house, what you need to know as an individual to have autonomy. And when I talk about autonomy, I talk about having that ability to be powerful. The whole entire point of this channel is to give you power for yourself. And there's no information like this on the net. There's nothing. Nobody's teaching this stuff. Okay, it's 100% unique. So the key foundations to moving into 2021 and the new year is being able to have autonomy. So what does autonomy mean? We're going to look it up because I don't want to be using big words on here and then everyone's like, what's that word? I don't know what that means. Okay, well, we're going to look it up together. So the word autonomy And you can feel free to get your second phone out. If you're watching me on one phone, get your second phone out or your laptop. Autonomy. What does it mean to have autonomy? It says, oh, I love it. Okay, it says, according to Google, and I looked it up here, this is the right or conditions of self-government. Okay, self-government. So this is a form of, in its simplest sense, autonomy is about a person's ability to act on his or her own values and interests. Okay. Taken from the ancient Greek, the word means self-legislation or self-government. A lot of the issues that we're facing today in the world are because people lack self-government. They rely on the government, they rely on political parties, they rely on institutions to tell them how they should live their lives. And if we are an advanced human being populace, we should be able to govern ourselves. We shouldn't have to need police. We shouldn't have to need all of these regulatory bodies. Okay, so this is going to be really important because you see it. You see it in the politics. You see it in, society. All right, so if you get triggered and you don't like talking about politics, I will discuss it here because it is very important in the self-governing aspects. We don't want to be controlled anymore. We don't want to be suppressed anymore. So if we don't want to be suppressed anymore and we don't want to be controlled, what does that mean? It means we need to have what? Self-autonomy. We need to have self-governing principles and information so that we can apply this information to our lives. And this is what astrology is. A lot of people have been fooled and they've been told, oh, no. Your horoscope is just some piece of words in the back of a newspaper. No, it's not. It's more than that. It's like going into a doctor's office and saying to the doctor, well, I don't have the flu. And the doctor is going to turn to you and the doctor is going to say, oh, well, gee, did you go to school for 8 years? No. So you can't really diagnose yourself unless you have the information and you've applied it and you have tested it. So this is part of self-governing. And out of all the planets, okay, that I personally look at is Pluto. I've struggled with learning about Pluto because it's such a benign planet. It's, I don't know if you all heard this in the media, and this was a few years back. They were saying Pluto isn't a planet. Remember that? They were like, oh no, Pluto's not a planet. That thing, that small little planet that's God only knows light years away from the sun. And I used to tell people all the time, I used to say, of course Pluto's a planet. Are you kidding me? Do you know that saying that says, there's a saying that says, what is the saying? Big things come in small packages. Does anybody remember that saying? Big things come in small packages. Pluto is a very small, tiny planet, but do not be fooled. Do not be fooled by this planet, okay? Because this planet, they're doing a lot of scientific research right now on Pluto, and they're realizing that Pluto has methane. It's actually the reverse scientific way in which the ice caps are on Earth. So basically whatever happens on Earth is actually the complete reverse of what's happening on Pluto. And I'm not a big science person when it comes to, I'm not into astronomy. I'm an astrologist, okay? But I do from time to time read articles on planets because whatever's happening on that planet is definitely going to have some sort of impact on the characteristics and the connection that we make to the astrological theories and the art of a planet, because this is how it influences us. Okay. People actually forget that astronomy has a very strong component to astrology. It's almost like, how could I say it? It's almost like having, astrology would be the bones of a person, and the skin would be the astronomy. Okay, which is the characteristics. So characteristics are imperative when learning about the functionality of a planet. So when we look at Pluto, we see it's very small. It's very slow moving. So, okay. So we've concluded that this planet is small, it's far away from the sun, it's remote. Okay, so this must mean something. What does it mean? Well, it means gradual progress. Anywhere Pluto is in your chart, if you're rushing it, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say Pluto is in your second house and you like money, because one of the points of being on this planet is money for you because Pluto is there. Wherever a planet is in your chart, that house that it's in is significant. It's a significant area of your life that you're going to be primarily focusing on. That's where you're going to primarily be focusing your energy. If there's no planet in a house, you don't need to be focusing on that area of life as much as you would be on other areas. So let's hypothetically say that Pluto is in the second house. Okay. So if Pluto is in the second house, this means that anything you do financially should be slow moving. It should constantly go through revisions and transformation, and it should be something related to generational wealth. That is based on how Pluto functions. That's how you can get deep insight into how you can create a level of autonomy in your life. A level of autonomy comes from really connecting with the planet and really knowing, why is that planet even there in the first place? What is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to tell me? A lot of people turn around and say, I have depression, I have this, I have that. Start to learn why the planet is there. Start to learn that. And you won't be depressed because you're going to be having self-autonomy. Stop allowing people to tell you there's something wrong with you when there isn't. You are born with a different handprint than anybody else on this planet. The likelihood of you finding somebody with the exact same astrology chart as you is like winning the lottery 1,000,000 times. It's probably never going to happen. Okay. So you really need to start knowing where Pluto is in your chart, because that place where that Pluto is, anything that it's touching there is going to be slow moving. It's going to be constantly, it's like a drill. Okay. It's going to drill down. Okay. It's going to drill down on you. Drill, drill, drill. And you might say to yourself, "Oh my God, when am I gonna get off this cross? I feel like I'm being crucified. When am I gonna get off?" Nope, keep drilling, keep drilling. Because in order to become the best, in order to become the most refined person that you could be, you need to constantly be working at something, constantly transforming, reinventing. And that's what Pluto is all about: reinventing, transforming, changing. So wherever it is in your natal chart, that's how it's going to be your whole entire life. Of course, it's going to change because of aspects, because of other planets that transit and aspect that part of your chart. So it won't always be the same, but it is a continuous transformation. Now, one of the things I want to touch on is tarot in this, okay? If you look at the tower represents Pluto and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But if I am wrong and there's someone in here that wants to correct me, I have no problem with that. Pluto is associated with the tower. And when we look at the tower, we see what? People falling out of a building. It's saying, get out of the building. It needs to be renovated. When Pluto moves direct from October 4th to January 25th, 2020, or 2020 to 2021, it will be a time where we're forced to make changes. Something is not working anymore in our lives, okay? Especially in things that are related to Capricorn. This could be about the financial sector, okay? The world financial sector, we see a lot of issues financially. By the way, I'm going to mention this, and you can all let me know if you've been seeing this. I've been seeing a lot of money hungry people, since Pluto has moved direct, I've seen a lot of money hungry people because there is a lack of financial support now that Pluto has moved forward. Okay. Because Pluto is starting to say, there's no security here. You better start making your own security. You better start figuring out how you're gonna, um, you know, create the financial abundance that you're looking for. Capricorn, people get, very fooled and they think, oh, Venus is about money and Taurus, yeah, but Capricorn has a lot to do with money too. And it has a lot to do with institutions. Okay. Institutions, meaning big money, banks, schools, all of that stuff. Maybe not schools, but institutions. Okay. So Pluto is there, it's right at the tail end of it, and it's saying, let's clean this up. There's something that needs to be cleaned up. There's a mess on aisle 2. On aisle 4, there's a mess. And it has a lot to do with confronting. Now, if you've watched my previous video, I did a video on Mars retrograde. Now, I'm quite certain that Mars retrograde and Pluto retrograde, or Pluto direct and Mars retrograde, is going to be having a square off. Okay. So if this is the case here, I'm going to see right now, unless somebody has the date here when Mars and Pluto square off. Let's just see. Okay. Mars square, Mars retrograde squares Pluto. Is this happening and when? Okay, I think it already happened. I'm not sure. Somebody's going to let me know in the comments, at a later time. Let's see. Okay, I'm not going to look it up because I want to talk more. I want to do more intuitive talking than I do want research. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is that Pluto is at the telltale end of Capricorn, and Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius in 2024. So what does this mean? Well, it means that between now and 2024, there's going to be major upheaval and changes in the financial institutions. One of the things that I want to mention to you, okay, and if you're on this live, even if you're not on this live after, if you're on watching this when it's not live, you are one of the chosen ones. You are one of the people that has been open to this information, meaning you are important. Okay. Not saying that people who don't watch this channel are not important. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have been guided here for a reason. So what that means is if you have a job that is going to be eliminated in 2021, you need to start making changes now. Because if you don't make changes now, you're going to suffer later. And I know nobody will tell you that. Nobody will tell you that. Everybody's going to say, oh my God, everything's good. Let's manifest. Oh my God, let's level up. Oh my God. No, you got to do more than that. You have to do more than that. If you're in a job where you're scanning grocery foods, get out while you can, because in 2021, there's going to be no cash people cashing, scanning your cheese, scanning your butter, scanning your milk. There will be automated machines. It's already happening. So you need to be aware of this. If your job does not involve a technical based job, then you need to start figuring out, oh my God, am I going to be replaced? Because it's going to happen. Okay. So you need to be aware of this. You need to be aware of these changes because Pluto brings what? Change. That's all Pluto does. When you see the Tower card, look up the Tower card. Let's look up the Tower card in tarot. Let's look it up together. Okay. I'll pull it up on my phone. You pull it up on your phone and we're going to analyze it because on this channel, we do analysis. That's how we become smarter. That's how we become more aware. And that's how we become one step closer to what? Self-autonomy. Okay, that's what this whole entire channel is about. Okay, so let's look at the tower and let's see what is depicted in the tower with tarot. So look up tower and tarot. And I know many of you watch tarot. That's where you came from my other channel. All right. So I have the typical visionary card here with a man and a woman falling out of the building. Okay. And it's almost as if there is here, I see a building on fire. And there's two people falling out of the building. And this, this looks like it's being forced. Okay. This tower looks like it's being forced. It's being forced. These people are being forced to get out of a building. And a building, in this instance, a building is what? Usually comfort, right? It's like, ooh, I was comfortable here. Ooh, I was feeling good here. Not anymore, because you're going to be forced. This is what Pluto is all about. Pluto direct between now and January 25th. A lot of things are going to change. A lot of things are going to change. And it's going to be very positive for you because it's something that's needed to change for quite some time. If you feel like there has been a lot of monotony, meaning the same thing every single day of your life, that's when Pluto comes in and says, nope, I'm going to just slide in here with my little tiny uselessness that everybody thinks I'm useless. Okay, this is Pluto speaking now. Okay, I'm going to impersonate Pluto now. I'm a small, tiny little planet. Nobody knows what I'm capable of, but boy, when I come in, I'm gonna tear shit up. I'm gonna tear shit up, and nobody is gonna expect it. Why? Because they told me like 5 years ago I wasn't even a planet. Can you believe this? They were telling me I was not even a planet. Oh boy, let me tell you something. They were wrong. I am a planet. I'm slow moving, but boy, when I come in, I'm gonna change stuff. Okay. This is what Pluto does. And if it's transiting somewhere in your chart now, you're going to feel it even more than what you would feel in your natal. So now you got to deal with the transit and you got to deal with the natal. Okay. So these are things that you have to be aware of. And what we're going to be doing in the personal courses that I'm going to be doing moving towards 2021, maybe, or probably not this year, moving more towards 2021, we're going to be looking at your individual chart and we're going to be looking at the transit of where Pluto is. Okay. And we're going to go step by step together and do that. But I'm just putting this information out now so you could start doing the research yourself. And this is part of self-autonomy. Okay. Part of self-autonomy means you take initiative because you can't just sit down and allow somebody to come in and tell you what to do all the time. You have to have the initiative. You have to have the get up and go, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur. And there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs that are created from now until 2021. Why? Because it's being forced. It's being forced. When Pluto hits Aquarius, that's going to be a whole different world. It's not going to be like the world that we live in now. So cash registers, people who are just doing the bare minimum that a robot can do or a machine can do, get out quick and start making arrangements, okay, to, get this information and apply it to your life. Start learning about your North Node, start learning about who you are as an individual. I'll tell you a story, okay? I'm going to tell you a personal story, and I like to share these personal stories. I can't really do it on the other channel, so I do it here. When I was in university, before I dropped out of university, I was in a class, in a media class, first year. And I remember asking a question. I was in a classroom of about 30 students. And I remember asking this question to everybody. And I like asking questions all the time. I think the professor said, ask a question. Okay. And he was picking random people. If you had a question to ask the class, what would you ask them? And I said to the class, I said, I said, how many of you know what you're going to do after you graduate from university? How many of you know who you are? How many of you know what your purpose is in life? Do you know how many people raised their hand in that classroom? Probably no more than 2 people, including myself. So, this means that we have a big problem on our hands. A big problem. Because 99.99% of people don't know who they are. Some do, some don't. And hopefully, this is something that is going to awaken you. Pluto will teach you a lot about who you are because it will teach you where you need to let go of control. Pluto is also about control. It's about what do I have control over and what do I not have control over? What do I need to release control from and what do I need to restructure in my life? Part of becoming the best version of yourself is knowing what you have control of and what you don't have control of. And if you're trying to control something in your life that you can't control and you know you can't control, and you're still trying to control it, then that's something that you need to reevaluate, right? Yeah. So Pluto is a very interesting planet. I highly recommend you do your research on it. I do have a book that I can recommend you. I don't know if it's available in the stores still because I bought it probably like 5 years ago. I do have little astrology books laying around my place that I do study once in a while, but I do a lot more like personal observations. That's how I study astrology. I don't always go to a book because we can do the research ourselves through experience. And your experience is a lot better than a book, in my opinion. Okay. I'm not a big textbook person. I'm more of a street smart type of person. All right. So now that that's out of the way, I'm not going to talk too much about that because I don't want to dwell on that. I want to move forward and I want to cover the topics that I was meant to cover in this discussion. So the next thing that I want to talk about is anchors and what was the other topic? Anchors and catalysts, right? Yeah. Anchors. So we've talked about transformation, okay? And if you have any questions about what I talked about, I will be taking questions at the end of the discussion for about 30 seconds, okay? I always do that at the end. All right. So let's talk about anchors and catalysts. What is an anchor? What is a catalyst? Now, I'm going to tell you what I believe it to be. Everybody is going to have their different opinion. And one of the things that I've mentioned is nobody is wrong on this channel. Okay. Don't be afraid to share your experience. Don't be afraid to share your knowledge or your truth. You will never, ever, ever be shut down on this channel, ever, because we are thinking minds. And one of the things that society has done to many of us is they've suppressed us into not speaking our truth, being muzzled, okay, aka 2020 being muzzled. Let's not smile, let's not say anything, let's close our mouths, let's just do as we're told. This is a sign, right, that we need to start being aware of our truth. Okay. So nobody ever feel like they can't, don't be afraid to ask a question or feel like, oh my God, I'm not good enough to mention something or, am I going to look stupid? No, 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 never. Okay. That's the one thing I want to mention. Now, let's get into anchors and catalysts. I'm going to tell you what my perspective is. And remember, my perspective may be completely different from anybody else's, but I'll just tell you what I believe. And if you believe something different, feel free to comment later or let us know. Okay. Now, a catalyst is somebody who comes into your life that, they kind of turn things upside down for you. It's like you're never the same after this person enters your life. It could be drastic. It could be hurtful. It could be painful. It could be all the emotions in one. Okay. When we have an anchor, it's the same thing. It's somebody who kind of plants in us that we need to change. And anchors and catalysts come under the platform of Pluto. So anybody who is a karmic, okay, if you want to refer to a person as a karmic or a person who you learn a valuable lesson from, a karmic, they would be categorized under Pluto. This type of energy that enters into your life is not necessarily a bad thing. Some of us, when we are born, we are contracting certain people into our lives for a reason. We might have said when we were in a non physical body, when we were just our soul, our pure soul, which is the light and darkness, okay? When we were in this energy, which means we have no form, we create contracts, okay? These are unconscious contracts that we create. And a lot of us, what we do is we summon people into our lives. We summon them. We say, okay, you're going to be my Pluto. You're going to be my anchor. You're going to be my catalyst. I want you to enter my life at this point. And when you enter my life at this point, I want to be transformed. I want to be forced to transform. Think of it as submissive and dominant. You have the submissive energy and you have the dominant energy. Pluto can be a submissive planet and it also could be a dominant planet because when you look at Pluto, it looks very submissive. It looks very small. It looks like it's innocent. But when you really look at it and you really look at the characteristics and how it functions, okay? Because, again, big things come in small packages. Look at how something functions. Don't just look at something and see it for its physicalities because physicalities can be very misleading. They can be very misleading. It's not always what something looks like. This is why I don't show my face on the channel because if you looked at me, you would assume all these things. You'd assume, and then you wouldn't even get the information. So I don't need to even show up. All I need to do is speak and you'll hear. And for those of you that need to hear and learn, will learn and hear. And for those of you that don't, you don't. So when you contract and summon somebody into your life that is basically someone who changes your life inside and out, you're never the same person. Some of you hold on to that, okay? Like, oh my God, I hate this person, or this person was this, and you hold that pain in your body. That's a Pluto person. That's a Pluto person who came in to transform you. Okay, so it's so easy to attract these people into your lives because these people look so sweet and they look so innocent on the outside. They look so like Pluto, small, innocent, cute. And then when you get to know this person, oh, do they transform you? It's like getting a bag of chips and a whole bunch of mix in there and you don't even know what chip is going to come out. Okay. So this is talking about catalysts and anchors that come into your life and what they mean and why do they come in your life. And a lot of the times when Pluto is transiting, depending on where it's transiting in your chart, that is when karmic people will enter into your life, especially if it is in house 7, which is, the partnership house or the third house, like different houses, right, in astrology. So there is a need, if you want to evolve, okay, there's a need to look at these people that enter into your life as Pluto people. Sometimes these people may even have strong Pluto placements in their chart. Okay. For example, one of the people that entered into my life that made a big change in my life had moon in Scorpio. Okay. And depending on where Pluto is touching your chart, it can affect you even more. And that's synastry astrology, and that's a completely different topic. Hopefully I'll get around to doing synastry astrology. I love synastry. I studied it for many years as well too. So when we have a chance, we'll definitely delve into that. But that's just a little bit of information that I think may be helpful to many of you, especially if you're going through this phase where you ended a relationship that was very significant in your life, or if somebody entered into your life and you feel like a completely changed person. That could have been a Pluto person that entered into your life. And that person could have had a significant impact on who you are today. And if that person never entered into your life, you would have never learned certain lessons and important measures that facilitated your transformation. Okay. So, anchors and catalysts are going to be very important in the self development courses that we do, identifying them, not being angry or reacting in an emotional type of way towards these people, because when you do that, you are basically cutting off your transformation, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to cut off your transformation. Why? Because you're going to have to repeat again, and you're going to have to summon the same soul contract again, or something that is similar, and that's a lot of wasted time. Okay, come here, do what you need to do, and move on. That's the whole point of life. The whole point of life isn't just to show up and put makeup on your face and look good on the outside and not do any inner work. Sorry, nope. No, it's not. There's a reason why we can't put lipstick on anymore, and we can't put all this makeup on, and notice how people are not so much focused on their physical appearance anymore, because they can't be. I mean, they can be to some extent, but it's almost like we need to balance, right? We need to balance from the over working on our physical appearance and try to move into that working inside. Okay, do both. Okay, I'm not saying walk around, look like a zombie and look crazy. I'm saying have that balance. Don't be someone who just works on the outside and you don't do any work inside, because that's when the catalysts come around, and they're like, okay, you're too focused on the physical aspects. You're too focused on this person who looks so good, and you want to fall in love with this person, but little do you know this person's going to transform you. That's how they grab you. They grab you by looks. They grab you by what you want to hear. Oh, ooh, this sounds good. This looks sweet and innocent, just like Pluto, but it's slow moving, and it will transform you from the inside out. Okay. So this is my discussion on Pluto. I didn't get too much into the aspects, but you can do your own research on this. I don't want to be bombarding you with information. I will look at the comments as well too for details. Now, I'm going to be on for another 30 seconds. If you're interested in asking me a question pertaining to this topic, not pertaining to your personal chart and, pertaining to other things that are outside of the scope of this discussion, if that is the case and you have a burning question, I highly recommend comment down below at the, after the live, not during the live, because, if I can get to your question later on, then I'll get to it. If I can't, unfortunately, I can't. Okay. So 30 seconds. Does anybody have any questions for me? I need to adjust my computer because it's really, actually, you know what? No, I can go on the live myself and I will check the questions from the live. By the way, I'm going through some sort of ascension symptoms right now, so I have a bit of a headache. So please bear with me. I may be a little bit more slow than I am, especially with Mercury retrograde going on. So just be patient with me. I'm going to open up the chat here, and I'm going to grab a drink of water. All right. Okay. So let's see what the questions are, if there's any. Okay. So the Prissy Missies. Okay, first I'll try to read this. This comment, and I'll see if I can answer it. The message here, the question is, someone made a biblical reference. The new world has always been portrayed as this horrible space in time in which you will have to make spiritual concessions to live, i.e., the mark of the beast. Can you speak to the positive Positives and challenges we can expect in 2021. Thank you. Okay. I like that question. It's nice. Let me tell you what my perspective is on this. Okay. My perspective here is going to go back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, the discussion. If you want to be in control of your life, you need to get up every single day and you need to start taking active action to do it. If you are relying on the system, if you are relying on the government, if you are relying on your job, if you rely on anything or anyone in any way, shape, or form, then you're in trouble. The goal here for you, if you have fear in regards to the mark of the beast or anything of that nature, in terms of the references, the biblical references of the mark of the beast and anything like that, what we need to start doing is we need to start creating communities, large communities of like-minded people. This is, for example, one of the things that I'm doing. I'm creating a community of like-minded people. It's happening very slowly, but it's happening. And you want to start becoming self-governed. That means every day you get up, if you're in a job where you're scanning food, you're scanning cheese, you're scanning bread, you're scanning milk, get out. That's one example. Okay? There's a lot of other examples. I'm not going to get into it. You should not, I repeat, you should not be working in anything that you could be replaced by a machine, because that is you depending on the system. That is you depending on somebody to give you an income, a job. That's out of the window. You got to stop doing that. You got to get up. You got to start becoming independent and self-governed. And the first way to do that is through astrology. The first way to do that is to start saying to myself, well, gee, where do I see myself in 10 years? Because if you don't have a plan for yourself, they're going to make a plan for you and you're going to be forced to do that. That is what the mark of the beast is. Again, you have to think above and beyond everybody else. I always say, even if you were my child, even if I was your mommy, I would tell you, you got to be 10 or 20 steps ahead of everybody else. So this means that if you're not self-governed, you may be forced to do these things. But if you start to be a part of communities, large groups of communities, which is what Aquarius represents, we talk about what the age of Aquarius, right? We say, well, the age of Aquarius, yes, that's where we're going. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, when Jupiter moves into Aquarius, life will not be the same. So my question to you is, are you prepared for the age of Aquarius? Some of the examples are working in jobs where you can be replaced by a robot. That's not Aquarian energy. I'm living in Capricorn energy. So if you all are confused and you all don't know what 2021 is going to bring and you're confused, let me know. That's a completely different topic, by the way. It's kind of different from the topic that we're talking about, but if it's something that a lot of you need to know and you're confused and you don't know what 2021 is going to bring, or you don't know what the shift of planets in Aquarius is going to mean, I will do a video on that, but I need to see that enough of you mention that to me and I will consider doing it as a topic. The best piece of advice that I can give you in terms of that question that you asked me, the Prissy Missy, is, are you self-governing? And if you're not, what do you need to do to get there? Okay, so that's my answer to you. And to also start studying more astrology and your personal natal chart. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so Francine commented a question: what are the warning signs that we should pay attention to during this time? Well, the warning signs are the retrogrades. The retrogrades are going to tell you what you need to fix before we move forward. It's like giving, it's like somebody giving you an opportunity again. It's like when the opportunity knocks on your door, it's almost like a missed opportunity comes back. It's like, okay, knocks. Okay, I'm knocking one more time. I'm giving you this opportunity to make changes, to revise this, to review it, to change your ways. And if you don't adhere to that, that's you being left behind. So, what I recommend astrologically, because this is an astrology channel, it's primarily focused on the astrological components. I highly recommend you look and see where the retrogrades are in your chart, your natal chart. Where are they transiting? And if you don't understand what that means, then I will do a video on it, but I need enough people to comment that. Okay. And like I said, we're going to be doing personal videos and stuff like that, but you need to do the research. Okay, especially if a lot of you, the reason why I don't want to come out with courses and bombard you with courses is because a lot of people are financially hurting right now. And I'm not going to be teaching this stuff individually to everybody for free. It's way too draining. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take all this information and put it in videos like this to get you started. So at least you have somewhere to start, right? You want to have somewhere to start. So my recommendation is what the warning signs are those retrogrades. Every time a planet goes back into retrograde, whether it's an outer planet or an inner planet, it's signaling to you something. It's saying you need to fix this area of your life. Okay. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say Mars is retrograde in your 7th house. That means that you need to start fixing relationships, okay, and where you put your energy, because Mars equals what? Energy. It also equals sexual energy. So if it's in retrograde, it may mean that you need to focus on that area of your life and fix something there before you enter 2021. Okay, so look at the retrogrades, and the retrogrades will give you some sort of piece of warning signs that you need to look at. Okay, Angie comments, is the influence of Pluto the same for each sign? No, it's not. It is to some extent, but it's not, because each sign has different characteristics. For example, Pluto in Capricorn is not going to be the same as Pluto in Scorpio or Pluto in Sagittarius. And to learn more about that, there's a need for many of us to study each sign. For example, Capricorn deals with what? Financial institutions, the corporations, the work sectors, the embedded work sectors, the industrial revolution, all of these things, and this is a transformation that's happening. When Pluto was in Scorpio, Scorpio deals with what? The sexual energy. It deals with transformation. It deals with, the sign of Scorpio, all of these things. So studying the characteristics of a sign, this is where astronomy comes in, okay? Characteristics, the constellations and the stories behind the constellations. This is where the characteristics of the planets come from, primarily from the Greek mythology. This is why Greek mythology is really important with astrology as well, too. Completely different topic, but it is related to some extent. So there's a need to really study the signs. So once you study the signs and you see Pluto there, you'll be able to make certain correlations and judgments based on that. All right. Okay. Let's comment the next. Okay. Alex Lancaster says, will astrology turn up the heat on power corruption for the purposes of healing? Okay, interesting question. When it comes to healing, I really feel astrology is a very important subject. And the reason why, I say this is because if you look at one of the diagrams on my Instagram, I have a diagram that I posted probably a couple of months ago where I talk about the significance of astrology and where does astrology sit, okay? Astrology sits in the middle, okay? We have mathematics is the universal language. Mathematics is the top universal language. And when we look at astrology, where does astrology sit in that graph. It sits right in the middle. Why? Well, because astrology has some sort of universal components to it. For example, mathematics is a universal language. Every single person uses it. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, pink, blue, Indian, Chinese, Spanish, European, you're going to be using numbers. Okay. So, how do we determine if a subject is worth even delving into? Well, does it have some sort of universal components to it? And if it does, then yes, there is some sort of truth to it. So, to answer your question, is this about healing? Is it going to amplify it? Of course, it's going to amplify it. It's going to amplify the ability for you to look within yourself and see what you need to change. The interesting thing about society is that we're a collective. There's so many of us on this planet. It's not just one person that's responsible, it's all of us. So if we can all go within, heal ourselves, and focus on the things that we need to change, whether that's corruption or misguided information or, transformation, which deals with Pluto, once we're able to identify the things that we need to work on and change within ourselves, the world is never going to be the same. It's going to be different. Like I'll give you an example. It's like the masks, the disposable masks that we wear, right? I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true, but I read it somewhere. You tell me what you think. That one of those masks, the disposable masks, if you throw it away, it kills one whale. That one disposable mask that you throw on the floor that you don't, dispose of, correctly or properly, it can kill a whale. Do you know what these disposable masks are doing to our Earth, to our planet Earth? It's killing us. And a lot of us are not taking responsibility for it. Okay. So if we all become aware of these small little things that we can change, remember Pluto, remember I said Pluto looks small on the outside, but boy, does it change you. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. So yes, there's going to be healing. Yes. And you're on this channel because you're going to be one of the people that are ahead of the game. This is what happened before the pandemic. A lot of people knew this was going to happen in the pandemic was going to happen. There was people that were ready for it and people that weren't. And the people that weren't ready for it are suffering now. They're suffering. They're suffering financially. They're suffering spiritually. They're suffering in all sorts of ways, mind, body, and soul. So you have to get this information and you got to start applying it to your life so that you can go through the healing process so it's a lot more easier rather than being forced. And that's what we talked about, right? Pluto is what? It's forcing us. That tower. Look at that card, that tower card. It's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen if we're not aware of the Pluto, the Plutonic energy. Okay. All right. Hope that answered the question. All right. Let's see the next question. Okay. Keisha says, hi, Monica. I'm dealing with a Scorpio moon. Do you think he came in my life to transform me? Yes, could have. I'd have to look at the chart and see because there's so many other components to it. But of course, yes, anybody who has Pluto in their sign or a planet in Pluto, either ascendant moon or sun that enters into your life, yes, they could be a karmic person and they could be a person that will transform your life and change you forever. And this could be somebody that you have a soul tie to. Could also be somebody that you summoned in your life before you became in the physical body. You could have summoned this person in a contract in your soul body before you were born. I want this person to come into my life and I want them to transform me. Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, Scorpio Pluto. If you have Pluto and Scorpio, you could be a catalyst or an anchor for someone. Yes, of course. Yes, my answer is yes to that question. Okay. Okay, Janice asks, if we cleanse ourselves, will love and money flow faster towards us? Of course. It's a little off topic, but of course it will. I don't see why not. Of course, cleansing negativity. Yes, of course. But you know what? I think, and you all let me know if you all want me to do a discussion on money. I'm the expert on that. If you want me to do a discussion on money, let me know. I can do an astrological discussion on money and manifestation. I would love to do that. If you'd like me to do that, comment in the comment box below or in the chat, and I will set that up. Okay. Okay. So Pearl says, so we are going to see Pluto in one area on a chart because it hangs out for a very long time. It does. Yes. It usually lasts in one sign for anywhere between 10 to 30 years, and it takes approximately 245 years to transit the sun, which means it's more than a lifetime. Some of us will never see Pluto fully transit the sun. We'll only see it for a small period of time because a lot of us don't live up to 200 years. Maybe in like the future we will, but it hasn't happened yet. So, okay. Okay. So the Prissy Missy says, got it. I quit my job in June, but need to make a plan. Yes. And this is why you're here. You're here for a reason, right? So, okay. Okay. Diego says Leo King talked about this. Yes. Us Leos, we're ready to usher in that Aquarian age. Yes. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. Sierra says, how many more life lessons will go through with these planets? Your life lessons never end. It's from the time you're born until you die. So if you're expecting some sort of sabbatical, it's not going to happen. Okay. I wish it was like that, but unfortunately it isn't. The only thing I can suggest is coming to communities like this where we can support one another and help each other to move to the next level so that we're not left behind. You don't want to be left behind, especially now. Now is not the time to be left behind. It's not a joke. Okay. All right. Okay. Francine says, do a video on charting, please. I will try to do that. I have to make sure I get the software, the correct software, and the correct stuff up. Okay. So just bear with me on that. I will try my best to get that up and running. All right. And the charting will have to include me putting some sort of software up here to do that. Okay. Okay. Let me see if there's any other questions. And by the way, I love being here with you all. Thank you so much for being with me. I love you all. I love all the hearts that you're sending me. I love you all. Okay. You're like my children and I'm your children. Okay. Or I'm your child. You're my child. Love you all. Okay. We're all here to support one another. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Be sure to share this channel. Share this channel with someone who needs this channel. I know you know somebody who needs this channel. Okay. So be sure to share that with someone. Okay. All right. Okay. Emily says, I feel like we're all going to be working together, something big. I don't know what it is. I feel, yes, it is. You're right. You're intuitively picking up on it. Exactly. So, this is why I said, for those of you who are here, you are the chosen ones. Not everybody is going to be here. Not everybody can stand this information. If you are guided and called to this information, you have a very significant purpose and we need you. Okay. You're very important. So, yes, that's 100%. You're right, Emily. Yes. Okay. Diego asks a very, very interesting question. And Diego says, what if there's nothing in your seventh house? Great question. I'm going to be doing a video on this very soon, but I will touch on it briefly here because it is an interesting topic. Okay. All right. So, if there's nothing in your seventh house, it means that's not the area of life you're supposed to be focused on. Whenever a planet, unless there's a transit there, if a planet transits your seventh house, like for example, if let's say Mars is in your seventh house now, but when you were born, there was nothing in your seventh house, it means that in this period of your life, something significant is going to happen with a significant other or a relationship. So even though there's no planet there natally, meaning when you were born, there was no planet there, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to have focus on that area. It just means at that time of birth or in general, your overall life is not always going to consistently pertain to the seventh house. It's going to primarily pertain to where the planets are. So if you have a planet that's in the first house or a lot of planets in the first house, you may have a life where you're focused more on yourself than you are on others. Okay. Hope that answered the question. All right. Okay. Okay. Yes, Emily says about control. Yes, you choose to be controlled. You choose to let yourself go. If you get up every morning and you say, "Oh, I'm hopeless. Oh, I'm a nobody. Oh, I'm this. I'm depressed." You're allowing society to tell you you're depressed. You're allowing society to do that to you. What is depression? Who came up with that word? Seriously. Did we have depression in the 1700s? When Galileo was by the river drawing water? Did we have depression then? No. Depression is a construct of society to control you. Okay. You got to wake up. Okay. By the way, before I answer any more questions, I want to just mention I just saw 111. Okay. Someone needs to go look up 111. That may be a message for somebody here. Okay. Um, I want to mention to you all, it's a very important message. Okay. Hear me out. Step into my office. Very important message. I will be starting conducting in November, either mid-November or later at the end of November, moving into December. I will be starting a um, a series. Okay, it's going to be called the CAF series, where we all come in and we have our tea. We're going to have our tea, and we're going to have the human design booklet. I did reference the human design booklet in previous videos. If you haven't bought your human design book, I highly recommend that you buy that book, because in the month of November and December, we are going to be uncovering human design. If you don't know what human design is, I recommend you go buy the book. Please go invest into yourself. Okay, I may get a small commission from Amazon for it, which is probably pennies compared to the value you're going to get from this. And of course, at no extra cost to you. Just purchase that book, because that book is going to be what you need to learn about yourself. So make sure you get that book, and I will be coming out with information about when that's going to happen. Okay. So the CAF series is going to come very soon. All right. Okay. So Mocha says, I have Mars and Pluto in my second house. What does it mean when Pluto is direct and the other Mars is retrograde in a particular house? Well, you have to do your research on that. Okay. If a planet is retrograde, a planet retrograde means that there's something that needs to be reviewed, revised, redefined. Okay. There's something that needs to be fixed. And if a planet is direct, it means that the characteristics of that planet are going to be highly prominent in your chart. Now, I don't usually answer personal questions pertaining to natal charts, because that is going to require a consultation. And at this time, I am not doing consultations, but I will be doing consultations in the near future. So I highly recommend that you subscribe to the channel if you're not, and listen out to hear when I'm going to do the consultations. Right now, unfortunately, I cannot do consultations because I have way too much going on. I have personal projects I'm doing. I have the other channel I'm doing, and I'm just not in a space right now to be taking consultations, because I want to be providing the utmost high quality work to you. So I will be doing that soon, and I will definitely inform you when that changes. Okay. Melissa says, please do a discussion on money. I will. Okay. I will consider that. Okay. Melissa says, I have a lot of fear around money. Okay. We'll talk about that. We will talk about that, of course. Yes. Okay. Everyone's saying do the money talks. Okay. I will. Okay. Okay. Yes. Everyone wants the money video. Okay. I will do the money video. Okay. Okay. Any other questions pertaining to the topic? Okay. Sierra says, so I have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, other places. Yes, if you have Scorpio placements, yes, Pluto direct is going to be pushing you into a new direction. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Okay, Angie says, I would like for you to do something regarding cleanse. Sure, I will do a video on cleansing. By the way, I just want to let you all know this is a spiritual channel, so I'm not always going to talk about astrology. So, yeah, if you have other comments or topic requests, then feel free to let me know and I will consider them because I'm a spiritualist. I have Mars in the eighth house, so I'm definitely an occultist, and I do all that stuff. So don't worry, I will share knowledge on that. Okay, so choosing for me says, what's a good reliable source to learn more about Age of Aquarius? This channel. This channel. I'm going to repeat it again. This channel. There, listen, there's nothing like what I'm talking about is there's nothing like it on the web. This is years of backed research that I've done for 21 years. And I always said to myself when I was in my little dingy apartment in downtown Toronto, in my dingy apartment, sitting there for days, I wouldn't even get off the couch studying astrology. I said to myself, this stuff is useless. Am I ever going to be able to use this information and help people? Because I feel like this is useless. Nobody talks about this stuff. And now we're moving into Age of Aquarius, and boy, did that study that I did for those years that I was in that dingy, small, annoying apartment in Toronto, it's paying off now. Okay. So I recommend you learn here. Okay. Because nobody's going to be offering this information for free. And if they do offer the information, they're going to be charging you like $700 or $800 to learn it. So up to you. If you want to subscribe and join us, and you'll learn a lot here. Okay. Oh, I love this comment. Okay, Alex says, I find when I'm aware of a retrograde, it can't hurt me because you know the context, of course. That's part of being aware. That's part of self-awareness. Yes, of course. You hit the nail on the head. Love that comment. You need to be aware. The more you're aware, the less something will affect you. Right. Okay. Diego says we are all brothers and sisters. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Cassandra says, what resources can we use to see the transits in the placement system right now for us? Okay, so I know there's one astrologist, and I'll recommend her because I do watch her channel from time to time. There's Astrolata. I recommend you check out her channel. You know, you could check out her channel for astrology resources, but if you want the nitty gritty, this is the channel you should be following. But in terms of like transits, I can recommend you Astrolata because she has a software that I believe she created. I think it's free. I'm not sure. I don't use it personally. The way I do it, because I don't spend money to learn astrology. I do the research. And if you put in the time, you won't have to pay. But if you're lazy and you don't want to put in the time, then you're going to have to pay someone to teach you. And most people don't want to do the work. So if you are willing to do the work and you don't want to pay, I recommend Astrolata. I think she's on YouTube. You could check out her I think she has like a some sort of system. I don't know if it's free. You could check that out, or you could just look it up. Okay? If you know your natal chart and you know what your rising sign is, well, you know your house placement. And then from your house placement, you're going to plug in where the planets are. So for example, if you're a rising Libra and you have Pluto transiting, where is it going to transit? Okay, let's do I'm going to ask you all some questions now. Okay. And if you ask me a question, just pause on the questions because this is very important. I want to answer this question correctly. If you are a rising Libra, where would Pluto be in your chart now? Where would it be transiting? If you're a rising Libra, where would Pluto be transiting now? Who's going to answer that question and who knows the answer? I'm waiting. Let's see who can answer that for me. If you're a rising Libra, where would Pluto be transiting right now in your chart? Does anybody know? You should all know this right away. And if you don't know it, you have a lot of work to do. No answers? No answers. Okay. So if you're a Libra, where is Pluto currently transiting in your chart? Honey Love says second house, nope. Mocha says first house, nope. Veronica says first house, nope. Is Pluto in Libra right now? Where is Pluto? If you're a rising Libra, where is Pluto in your chart now? Where is it transiting? Okay. So if Libra rules the first house and if you're a rising Libra, that means Libra will rule what house? The first house. Honey says the fourth house. Yes. Why? Why? Yes. Megan says the fourth house. Why is Pluto transiting in the fourth house if you're a rising Libra? Well, Libra rules, if you're a rising Libra, Libra rules what? The first house. What rules the second house? Scorpio. What rules the third house? Sagittarius. What rules the fourth house? Capricorn. Pluto is currently transiting in Capricorn. Therefore, if you are a rising Libra, then you are going to be affected in your home life. Pluto is there changing your home life. There's something in your home life that is you're being either pushed out of your home, or your home needs to change. There's something in your home that needs to change, or you're being pushed to move. It could be a lot of different things, but this is the gist. This is the idea, okay? So this is how you're going to learn the house system. Now, like I said, I can do videos on this, but again, it's going to require a lot of work from me, and for me, I don't want to be so technical on this channel, because astrology is not only about the technicals. Listen, if you get so bogged down in the technicals, you're going to miss everything. Astrology is not only a science, it's an art. It's an art. It's not just one type of thing. You can't just learn astrology like that. You have to experience it. Okay? All right. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see what else. Any other questions here? Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So any other questions? If I missed your question, I do apologize. Just comment it again and I will see it. I'll be on for another 30 seconds and then I'm going to bounce, because I want to do some meditation and I want to relax a little bit and take it easy. So, okay. Okay. Yes. So, Melissa says Astrolata. Is that how you spell it? Yes. Astrolata. Yes. I recommend Astrolata. Now, Astrolata, I've been following her for, I think, maybe a couple of years. She's a great reference point as well too. So I don't want to be too biased and just say follow me. You can follow me as well too. You can follow her as well too. I don't really follow any other astrologers on YouTube, because I am my own astrologer and I do my own research. I don't just listen to videos. Like, I'm beyond that. I go deeper than that. Okay. There's a lot of things that I know that, again, like if I was going to explain them to you, I'd be here for like probably until I'm 100. I know a lot. So if you want somebody else to learn from, you can also go, and she also offers courses as well too. So if you're like in a like if you're in a place right now where you're like, I want courses now, I can't wait for you, Monica, well, then I suggest you go to Astrolata, because she has tons of courses and you could start there. Okay. And even if you start there, it's great, because when we have our platform that's going to be coming out very soon, you'll be ready to be in the platform that I'm going to be offering. So there's a lot of different sources that you could check out. I recommend you check out all of them. I'm not going to be biased and just say subscribe to my channel. There's nobody else. There's other people. You just need to do the research. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So Alex says maybe do a video on shame conditioning for those who need it. Okay. It's a little bit off my expertise, but I will consider it. I did do a video on shadow work, which I don't know if that's similar, but I did something in regards to that. That might be something that I would recommend as well too. Okay. Okay. Ruth says, to understand planet impact, both natal and transit charts need to be reviewed. Correct. Yes. Yes. You need to take your natal chart and you need to take the transits of where the planets are and pop the planets in there. And what I'll do is I may come on, okay, and show you how to do that with a paper or something like that. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to do that. But yes, you have to take your natal chart and then take the planets and plop them into your natal chart to see where they're transiting and how they're communicating. Okay, so good question. Yes. Saffron says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. You are very welcome. I am here to guide and support. That is why I created this channel. So thank you for being here. Okay. Okay. Alex says, Monica, I think you'd enjoy Teal Swan. Yeah, I've watched her before. I honestly don't watch too many YouTubers because I am a YouTuber myself. So, but yeah, I have checked her out before and I love her point of view on things. I love that. I love free thinking people and I like people who have different perspectives on things. I'm always open to hearing different perspectives and stuff. So, yeah, thanks for the recommendation. Yeah, I've checked her out a few times. Okay. So, any other questions? Okay. Terry says, do we have a video with the houses? I don't know if I created a video with the houses yet. The houses are really like that's so basic. It's really basic. So if you're learning the houses, it's so easy. You can go online and Google it. It's so easy. You really don't need me to do a video on it. I could try to do a video on it, but the purpose of this channel is to go deeper than that. I want to go deep. Like this is why it's called the blackout because we're going like deep. Like we don't even know what's on the other side, right? If you're learning about the houses though, Terry, I recommend just do a quick Google search. You'll learn like in 2 minutes. It's very, very easy and straightforward. Okay. I usually when I do a video, it's so in depth. I don't think a house video would be an hour long. So, but if people really need it, like if you really need a video on that, I can do it. Okay. Just let me know if there's enough people that comment it, I will do it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Megan says, could we possibly do a video on twin flames one day? Honestly, I have to be really honest with you all. I'm not an expert on twin flames. I am not. I'm an astrologist. I've studied astrology for 21 years. Ask me anything about astrology. Yes, I will answer. But twin flames, I only know based on the tarot readings that I've done, and usually they're intuitively guided. So I can't really tell you. One of the tarot readers that I can recommend to you is Ascension Tarot. She's done some twin flame stuff, and I think there's a couple of other YouTubers like Water Baby and a couple of other people. I'm not too focused on twin flames on this channel because I don't know much about it, and I don't want to sit up here and act like I do. And do I want to do research on it? Not really, because it's not part of my sole purpose and journey. But there's a lot of other people out there, a lot of other tarot readers and stuff that will definitely help you to learn that. I'm sure there are. And a lot of them are a lot more knowledgeable than I am on that. Ask me anything about astrology, anything, and I'll be able to answer it. Okay. 9 times out of 10, I'll be able to answer it unless it's something really far out that I can't. I'm quite confident that I will, though. Okay. Alicia says, Monica, I'm a triple Aquarius. Ooh, okay. So you're going to need to get ready for the Aquarius age. And question is, will you do a video on how to read natal charts? Absolutely. I will do that. I will get that ready for you. I'm just going to take some time to do that because, like I said, I am still trying to learn editing and all that. I have to get somebody to do that to help me with that. So I don't want to just come on and throw whatever on. I want to make sure it looks nice and everything. So I will do something like that very soon. Yes. Okay. Any other questions before I head out? Okay, yes. Honey Love says, I am definitely doing my homework before coming to your lives. Yes, please do your homework because I don't want to sit up here and act like I know everything. That is the worst thing ever. I don't want to sound egotistical or condescending. I want you all to be a part of this live. This is why I do the lives. This is why I ask you questions because it helps you learn. And this is an interactive community. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're all here to learn. Okay, so yes, do your homework. I like that. All right. Yes, a lot of you are saying do a video on the houses. Okay, I will. I will get around to doing that, of course. Okay, Alicia says, so what does it mean to be triple signs like I'm a triple in Aquarius? Well, you have heavy Uranus energy in your chart and Saturn energy in your chart. So do a lot of research on Aquarius and what it means. Aquarius is the sign of the new world. So you need to know about that. And Aquarius has a lot to do with humanitarian efforts and the environment. And it also has a lot to do with technology. So yeah, do your research on that. You're going to be heading in the new world. You're going to be a very important individual in the new world with the Aquarius energy there. Yes. Okay. Keisha says, "How do you feel about life path numbers?" Excuse me. I've dabbled in numerology a bit here and there. I'm not a numerologist. It's not my niche or my expertise. I like it. It gives you more insight to some things. Like for example, I'm a number 11. I'm a life path 11 number. I'm a healer, so it can really give you a lot of insight into yourself if you're on that self learning journey. I do highly recommend checking out the numbers for sure. For sure. For sure. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. So, last two questions have a lot to do with, okay, one question here. With Pluto and Virgo in the first house retrograde, how does this affect me? I highly recommend if you're asking about personal questions in regards to your natal chart to do the research. Just go online and Google that, and you'll find out. Like I said, any planet that's retrograde means you need to revise, and you need to redo something. If something is retrograde in your chart, you have a strong life lesson that you need to learn there, and you were born into a retrograde because you failed to fix it in a past life. So it's coming up again, and it's going to keep coming up and keep coming up until you fix it, until you deal with it. Okay? I think I did a video. I don't think I did a video on retrogrades, but if it is in your first house, that's you needing to work on something within yourself. Okay? I'm not going to touch too much on that because you could do the research. You're smart enough. I trust that you can do the research on that, but I will guide you. And the first thing I would mention is know what it means. Okay. For example, Pluto is a transformation. If it's in your first house, okay, if Pluto is in your first house and it's retrograde, it means that you failed in the last life to transform yourself. In this life, you have to do it. You're going to be forced to do it. Okay. You got to transform. This is about transformation. Okay. So look it up, Google what that means, and you will find the answer. I promise you. Okay. Final question of the night. I don't think there's any other questions. Okay. Justice will be the last question. I'll answer Melissa's, and then I'm going to go because I'm starting to sound very raspy right now. Okay. Melissa, how can we combine the planets, healing, etc. when some are direct and some are in retrograde? I'm listening more. Thank you for doing that video. Yes. I will do a video on retrogrades. Again, when a planet is direct, it's going to be completely different from a retrograde. So I'm not going to explain that here because it's too long and it's a lot different than the main topic. So I will keep that in mind, and I will come back and I will do a video on that. But just keep in mind this, know this. If a planet is retrograde, it means there's something you need to revise, redo that you failed to do in a last life, period. If a planet is direct, it's full force, and its characteristics of that planet are going to influence your life even more, okay? The redo for me, when a planet's retrograde for me, it means redo, revise, redo, okay? Not every astrologer is going to agree with that, but that's my point of view and what I believe in, okay? Last question of the night is Justice. Love that name, by the way. What's the correlation between the house a planet is in natally and where it is at a given period in terms of knowing what to expect? What is the correlation between the house a planet is in natally and where is it in a given period of time? Okay. I'm going to try to answer this question. And again, Mercury retrograde's happening now. So when you ask me a question, try to keep it simple, please, because it can be a little bit complicated. Okay. What's the correlation between the house planet is in natally and where it is in a given period of time? Okay. So I'm going to try to answer this. What is the correlation between the house a planet is in natally. Okay. If it's in a certain place in your natal chart, it means that in your life, your primary focus is going to be on that, your life, because your natal chart is a whole picture of your life and what your life is going to be like from the time you're born to the time you die. So that is going to have a heavy influence on you, okay? And where it is at a given period of time and knowing what to expect. Well, what to expect is going to be based on the aspects, okay? So if, let's say, for example, you have a natal chart, a picture, a snapshot of the sky when you were born, how is this going to affect you? Well, it's going to affect you based on how the current transiting planets are affecting your natal chart. Okay, so the natal chart is the snapshot of your life and what you can expect throughout your life and how you can navigate your life, how you can avoid depression, how you can avoid mental health issues, all of that stuff, because you're going to know what transits you're going to go through. You're going to know the aspects, you're going to know. So it's not going to affect you, as much as it would affect somebody who's ill-informed, somebody who allows society to govern them. Okay. So, these are things that we will discuss more down the road. It's a little bit off topic, but I will take into consideration talking about the natal chart and then talking about the transits, okay? And how you can incorporate these things into your personal life, into your business, all of that. This is all about the new age and preparing us for 2021. Okay, so I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight, for taking part in this conversation, in this discussion. Now, I will give you some homework before we go, and your homework is going to be to find out where Pluto is in your natal chart. Where is Pluto in your natal chart? And if you don't know where Pluto is in your natal chart, do your research, find out what your ascendant is and where Pluto is transiting. When you find out where Pluto is transiting in your chart, comment below and tell me how your experience is. If for privacy concerns you do not want to talk about that, you can log into an anonymous account and comment below what you've been experiencing with this Pluto transiting. So is it transiting your first house, your second house, your third house? Where is it transiting and how is it affecting you? And by sharing that information, we can all have a reference. And this is going to be the reference for now. We are working on the secondary platform where we will have research and reference points for the new age. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to keep it short. Thank you everyone for tuning in, sending you lots of love and light. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share this with somebody you feel needs to know this information. Okay, sharing is caring, everyone. All right, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.